There comes a point in your life when you get tired, not the kind of tired sleep can fix, but the kind of tired that sits in your chest, the kind of tired that whispers, "Why is it always me? Why am I the one who gives, and gets nothing back?" If you've ever felt that way, if you've ever walked around with a smile on your face while your heart quietly breaks inside, if you've ever been the one who people run to when they need something, but disappear when you're the one struggling, then this message is for you. Because today we're going to talk about something that will change your life forever. How to stop being the nice one everyone takes advantage of, without losing your kindness, without becoming cold, and without letting bitterness steal your heart. I'm not here to change who you are. I'm here to help you protect who you are, so the right people can appreciate you, and the wrong people can no longer drain you. Sit with me. Breathe. Open your heart. And let's talk. Where the nice one pattern begins. You didn't become the nice one by accident. It started somewhere. Maybe you grew up hearing, "Don't cause trouble. Just do as you're told. Be the peacemaker. Make everyone happy." Maybe you learned early that your role was to fix, to please, to keep the peace, to be the one who smooths over problems and never creates them. Maybe you were praised more for being quiet than being honest, more for being obedient than being confident, more for saying yes than saying no. Or maybe life taught you that rejection hurts, so you avoided it by being overly nice. But here's the truth. Being nice is a gift. Being used is a curse. They are not the same thing. Being nice is a choice. Being used is what happens when you don't protect that choice. Some people think kindness means weakness, because you've let them think so. But today we're breaking that pattern. This is the day you learn the difference between being loving and being taken for granted. The silent signs you're being used. You might not even realize you're being taken advantage of, because you've lived in this cycle for so long that it feels normal. But here are the signs, and you'll know if they speak to you. 1. You feel guilty when you say no. It's almost like you think you committed a sin for choosing yourself. 2. You apologize even when you did nothing wrong. Sorry becomes your default language. 3. You carry emotional responsibilities that are not yours. You become the therapist, the babysitter, the caretaker, the emotional sponge. 4. People only reach out when they need something. If you stopped giving, the relationship would die instantly. 5. You feel invisible in relationships. Your needs don't count. Your limits don't matter. Your feelings are always the last on the table. And the worst of all, 6. People feel comfortable draining you. They know you won't complain. They know you'll forgive. They know you'll still be there tomorrow. This is the reality of being the nice one. But not for long. Because awareness is the first step to transformation. Why people take advantage of you. Not everyone is evil. Not everyone who takes advantage of you does it intentionally. But there are 3 types of people in this world. 1. The innocent takers. They're unaware. They don't even realize you're drowning because you've built a reputation of being okay all the time. 2. The conditional takers. They like you only when you give. If you stop giving, they disappear. 3. The professional takers. They choose people like you on purpose. They can smell insecurity, guilt, and people-pleasing from a mile away. And guess who they select every time? The person who never complains. The person who wants to avoid conflict. the person who just wants to be loved. But here's the truth you need to hear, and you might not like it. People treat you based on the rules you allow. They take what you don't protect. They expect what you always give. Nothing changes until you change the pattern. This is the day you break the cycle. The main reason you can't say no. Let's talk about the barrier most people don't acknowledge. You're not too nice. You're afraid. You're afraid people will get angry. You're afraid people will leave. You're afraid people will think you're selfish. You're afraid of disappointing others. You're afraid of conflict. You're afraid of rejection. So you give away your time, your energy, your peace, your comfort, just to keep others happy. But here is the painful truth. Every time you say yes to something that drains you, you are saying no to yourself. You cannot live a meaningful life if you're constantly sacrificing yourself for people who don't value you. You cannot grow if you're always shrinking to make others comfortable. You cannot love yourself when you constantly abandon yourself. This is why your heart feels heavy. This is why you feel used. This is why you feel alone even when surrounded by people. Your spirit is begging you to choose yourself. The breakthrough moment. Something powerful happens when a person finally gets tired of being taken advantage of. It's like a silent switch flips inside you. You wake up one day and say, I don't want to do this anymore. Not out of anger, not out of revenge, but out of self-respect. That moment, when you finally choose yourself, becomes the turning point of your entire life. You stop explaining. You stop proving. You stop justifying. You stop bending. You stop overgiving. You start observing. You start recognizing patterns. You start setting boundaries. You start speaking calmly and clearly. You start honoring your energy. That's when people get shocked. Because they never expected you to change. They thought you'd be the nice one forever. But listen, you can be kind without letting yourself be walked on. You can be generous without letting yourself be drained. You can be loving without letting yourself be used. And now we move into the part of the message that will reshape your entire identity. How to stop being the one everyone takes advantage of. Now we're getting into the heart of this message. This is where the real transformation begins. To stop being the nice one who gets drained, you don't need to become rude. You don't need to become cold. You don't need to become hard. You simply need to shift your relationship with yourself. Because the truth is this. People only treat you to the level you treat yourself. If you respect your time, others will respect it. If you respect your boundaries, others will respect them. If you honor your worth, others will either rise to that standard or fall out of your life. So let's break this down into practical, real-life changes that will help you protect your kindness without losing it. Stop over-explaining yourself. One of the biggest behaviors of people who get taken advantage of is over-explaining. You say things like, I'm so sorry I can't make it because I have this thing, and I'm tired, and I've been overwhelmed. So, a complete sentence that respects yourself is, no, I won't be able to make it. That's it. You don't need to justify. You don't need to defend. You don't need to apologize for having a life. You don't need to convince anyone. The moment you stop explaining yourself, two things happen. People who used you will get irritated. People who respect you will understand. And that's how you identify who belongs in your life. Don't rush to fix everything. You have been the problem solver your whole life. But you need to understand this. Fixing everything for everyone makes people dependent on you, not grateful for you. If someone always expects you to clean up their mess, they will never respect your effort. You teach people how to treat you by what you tolerate. Stop jumping in. Stop saving everyone. Stop being the emergency service for adults who refuse to take responsibility. Here's a sentence that will save your energy. I'm sorry this is happening. I trust you'll figure it out. This removes the weight from your shoulders without being unkind. Start speaking in clear, short statements. Nice people often speak softly, indirectly, or in circles. This makes others believe you are unsure, and when you seem unsure, your boundaries won't be respected. Instead of, maybe, I'm not really sure. I don't know, if you don't mind. No, thank you. That doesn't work for me. I'm not available for that. I don't allow that. Your tone can be gentle, but your statements must be firm. Let people feel disappointed. This is the hardest step, but it's the most important. People pleasers hate disappointing others. You've built your whole identity around avoiding conflict and keeping people happy. But listen closely. If someone stops liking you because you set a boundary, they were never with you. They were with your convenience. You must allow people to be shocked. You must allow them to adjust. You must allow them to be uncomfortable. Don't rush to fix their emotions. Their disappointment is not your responsibility. Stop making yourself emotionally available to everyone. You cannot keep giving emotional support to people who never show up for you. Your heart is gold, but even gold can be stolen if it's not guarded. You need 2 categories in your life. 1. People who have earned access to your emotional energy. 2. People who get polite distance. Not everyone deserves to know your struggles. Not everyone deserves to hear your plans, your hopes, your fears. Not everyone deserves to sit at the table of your heart. Pull your energy back. Protect it. Give it to those who reciprocate. Stop trying to prove you're a good person. This is a big one. You think if you're always nice, always patient, always available, always forgiving, people will eventually appreciate you. But that's not how humans work. People value what is scarce. People respect what is firm. People admire what is not easily accessed. Your goodness doesn't need to be advertised. Your heart doesn't need to be proven. Your kindness doesn't need to be performed. You are enough without trying so hard. How to rebuild your self-respect. People don't take advantage of you because you're kind. They take advantage of you because you don't prioritize yourself. So let's rebuild that from the inside. 1. Start honoring your feelings. If something bothers you, it matters. If something drains you, it's valid. If something offends you, you have the right to speak up. Stop silencing yourself. Stop minimizing your own discomfort. Your emotions are not inconveniences. They are signals. 2. Stop making excuses for people. Every time you say, "That's just how they are. They didn't mean it like that. It's okay, I understand." You're giving them permission to do it again. People don't change when you excuse them. They change when you enforce consequences. 3. Start asking this question, what do I want? You've lived your whole life asking, what do they want from me? How can I make them comfortable? How do I avoid making them upset? Not anymore. Start asking, what about me? What serves my peace? What honors my energy? What protects my joy? Your needs matter just as much. For learn to enjoy saying no. The first few times it will feel scary. Then it becomes liberating. Then it becomes empowering. Then it becomes your lifestyle. No is not rejection. No is protection. It protects your future. It protects your peace. It protects your energy. It protects your value. The shift every nice person must make. There is a point in your journey where you stop being the nice one and start being the balanced one. Because the goal is not to become harsh. The goal is to become whole. You will know you've grown when you're still kind, but not at your own expense. You're still giving, but not to those who only take. You're still peaceful, but not silent about disrespect. You're still caring, but not carrying people who refuse to walk. You're still humble, but not invisible. You're still loving, but not to those who drain your soul. That's real strength. That's real growth. That's real self-respect. And now, we go into the closing chapters that will seal this message into your audience's hearts. The version of you they can no longer manipulate. There comes a moment in your healing journey where something inside you clicks. You stop reacting the way people expect. You stop bending the way you used to. You stop falling for emotional tricks that once controlled you. This version of you becomes confusing to the people who were used to walking all over you. They try the same manipulation they've always used. Guilt, silence, passive-aggressive comments, sudden attitude, withdrawing affection, playing the victim. But this time, something is different. You're no longer moved. Where you used to over-explain, you now stay calm. Where you used to beg for clarity, you now observe. Where you used to panic at someone's silence, you now enjoy your peace. Where you used to try fixing everything, you now let people sit with the consequences of their behavior. The new you is no longer controlled by fear of abandonment, fear of being disliked, a fear of conflict, fear of losing someone, fear of disappointing people. Because you finally understand something powerful. Anyone who can only love you when you're small, silent, and self-sacrificing isn't loving you, they're using you. And you refuse to shrink anymore. This is the version of you they can no longer manipulate. The version that knows their worth, their limits, and their value. The quiet power of boundaries. People think boundaries are loud, confrontational, or aggressive. But the most powerful boundaries are quiet. They sound like, I'm not available today. I'm not comfortable with that. That doesn't work for me. No, thank you. I'll think about it. I need to stop you there. I'm stepping back from this. They're calm, steady, simple. The old you would explain endlessly, trying not to hurt feelings, trying to sound nice. But the healed you understands. Clear is kind. Over-explaining is insecurity. Boundaries are not about pushing people away. They're about keeping the right people close. People who respect you, not people who drain you. A quiet boundary is a sentence that protects your peace. A consistent boundary is a habit that rebuilds your self-respect. A respected boundary is the birthplace of healthy relationships. People don't leave when you set boundaries. They leave when the only version of you they could benefit from disappears. And that's a blessing, not a loss. How to walk away from users without guilt. The hardest part of healing as a nice person is learning to walk away. Not because you don't want to, but because guilt pulls at your heart. Guilt whispers, what if they change? What if I'm being harsh? What if they need me? What if I'm overreacting? But here's the truth. If someone only values you when you're silent, small, or suffering, your absence will teach them more than your presence ever did. Walking away doesn't mean you hate them. Walking away doesn't mean you are unforgiving. Walking away doesn't mean you are cruel. Walking away simply means, I'm choosing myself now. The weight you feel is not guilt. It is detachment. It is your heart releasing someone who was never meant to stay in the first place. Here's how you walk away without guilt. 1. Accept that your healing is not an apology. You don't owe anyone an explanation for growing. 2. Remember their patterns, not your fantasies. Don't rewrite history to make them seem better than they were. 3. Choose peace over potential. Stop waiting for who they might be someday. 4. Remind yourself that distance is protection. Some people need to stay out of your life for your well-being. 5. Trust that the right people won't require you to suffer to keep them. Your heart knows when something is no longer safe. Listen to it. Walking away is not weakness. It is wisdom. Let's talk about the version of you that emerges after healing from being the overly nice one. You become someone who speaks honestly without fear, loves deeply without losing yourself, helps others without draining your soul, gives generously from a full cup, walks away from disrespect the first time, chooses peace instead of chaos, values yourself enough to say no, no longer chases people, no longer tolerates emotional crumbs, no longer apologizes for existing, no longer measures your worth by how much you give. Your confidence becomes quiet and effortless. Your presence becomes clear and steady. People start treating you differently, not because you're louder, tougher, or colder, but because you finally respect yourself, and self-respect changes your entire energy. You show up in places differently. You speak differently. You make decisions differently. You attract differently. The new you is not rude. The new you is not cold. The new you is not selfish. The new you is balanced. The new you is awake. The new you is nobody's stepping stone anymore. Take a moment. Just breathe. You have spent so many years trying to prove your worth through kindness, patience, and sacrifice. But you were never meant to earn basic respect. You don't have to break yourself to keep people. You don't have to say yes to be loved. You don't have to please people to be valued. You don't have to disappear to make others comfortable. Please hear this. You deserve to be loved without losing yourself. You deserve to be respected without begging. You deserve relationships where your heart is safe. You deserve friendships where you are not an option. You deserve peace. You deserve reciprocity. You deserve your own kindness too. This journey isn't about becoming less nice. It's about becoming less available for disrespect. It's about protecting your softness, not hardening your heart. It's about receiving the same love you give. It's about learning that your needs matter too. The day you stop letting people take advantage of you is the day your real life begins. And from this moment onward, you walk differently. You speak differently. You choose differently. You love differently. You live differently. Because you finally know, being good is beautiful. Being kind is powerful. But being used? Never again.